Hi and welcome to this video on visual reasoning. So today we are going to address a subtopic within visual reasoning called series based questions. So we have 5 questions. I am going to show you a question each, and what you can do is take about 45 seconds, pause the video. In about 45 seconds to a minute max, you should try to come up with the answer, and then you can continue watching the rest of the video. So let's get started with the first question.
If you like our content and want to experience the IMS pedagogy, you can join the IMS Zero Fee Prep programs that will give you access to concept videos, sectionals, full-length tests and more for free. You may click on the I button or on the link in the description box below to access the same. Happy learning!
So this is the first question that you have. Pause the video right now, 45 seconds, and then come back. Alright, I hope you were able to solve it under 45 seconds. Now the question is very easy. We need to just figure out how the movements are happening from one position to another or one figure to another. So if I look at any object, right, you can pick any object to begin with. There is no requirement as such that you only start with the top left corner or the bottom right corner and so on. Whatever strikes you first, you go with that. So here what I observe is I'm going to start with square, right, because that is something that is easy to handle. So if I look at where the square is placed, square, rectangle, it has a little curves towards its corner, so it's not really a square, but let's come back. Where is it? When I look at this one, it is in the bottom left corner. From there, it goes to bottom right. So when I look at a figure, it starts here, then it goes here, right? So it goes to bottom right. From there, it goes to the top right. And from there, it goes in this figure. It goes there, which is essentially top left. So you can clearly see a cycle. So what will happen in the next one is, of course, it will come down, and that is what you see happening here in the fifth figure. So from there, what will happen? That's the question. Obviously, it is going to move ahead. So you will have a square in the bottom right corner. So that's the first thing that I have observed. You, of course, could have started with something else as well. Now, a lot of visual reasoning is going to be related to how do you eliminate options. And what I've just done is I've eliminated the fifth option here. So now I'm left with 4 choices. Let's look at something else now. I'm going to focus on triangle this time. If I look at the triangle, initially this is how it looks, right? And now in the next one also it looks exactly the same. So there is no change, right? So from one figure to another, there is no change happening on the triangle. But when I go from there to the next one, I see that of course it has come down. So there is still that cycle movement that is going on. But now it has changed its orientation. And how has it changed it? It has now become like this. So if I draw it, it looks like this, which essentially is water image. So now from 1 to 2, when it was actually same, from 2 to 3 it has become water image. Okay. Now let's observe from 3 to 4. So I'm focusing on this and this now. Again the exact same orientation, it's not changing. So from here, the next one is same. So I see some logic, same image, then water image, then same image. Let me see what happens after that. So from here, it becomes like this, which is not a water image, but a mirror image, because it is vertical axis on which you are reflecting it. So the next thing is a mirror image, right? So same water, same mirror. So this is the logic that you have. From one image to next, it remains the same, then water image, then same, then mirror image, then same. So now what will happen? Think about that. You have already taken a mirror image. Now it will remain same. So the triangle orientation is going to remain exactly the same. It will just change the position where it is. So from top right, it is going to go to top left. And let's see which all options we can eliminate because of this. I can eliminate option 4. Think of something else now. Let's look at the partial arrow or digit 1 that is there. So you have 1 which is first of all inverted. From there it becomes upright. So that's the 1 that you have. From there it remains the same. Then from there you have the mirror image. So initially you had water, then it remained the same, then you had mirror, and then it remains the same. That is what you will observe here. And once it remains the same, the next is going to be a water image. So what you will have is water image of this, which is going to be like this. So now I can eliminate answer option 1 also. So my choice is now between option 2 and option 3. The remaining thing is of course the Z-like structure that is there. Let's see what is happening there. Initially you had it like this, then you had mirror image, then in the third one it remains exactly the same, then you have the water image of that, then it remains exactly the same in the next one. And now what is going to happen from here? It's going to be mirror image of this. So you're going to take mirror image of this one, which looks like this. So from the options you can see that is happening in answer option 2, and that's your final answer for this question. Let's look at the second question now. So again pause for about 45 seconds, a minute, and then come back and then we'll look at the solution. Okay, I hope you found it to be very easy. So here if you look at how many sticks are there or how many lines are there, the first one you have 2 horizontal lines. So I'm going to write 2 here, which indicates how many lines are there. In the next one we have 2 horizontal and 1 vertical. The total is 3. In the next one we have 3 horizontal, 2 vertical, so that is 5. Now what is 2, 3, 5? Immediately you would have realized that this is nothing but prime numbers. So let's see if that theory holds true. If I look at the next figure, 4 horizontal and 3 vertical, so that is 7. And if we look at the next one, that's 6 horizontal and 5 vertical, giving you 11. What's the next prime number? 13. So in your answer, you're supposed to have 13 lines, segments, sticks, whatever you call it, but 13 objects is what we are looking for. Let's look at the first option. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 horizontal here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vertical. 8 plus 5, 13, we have got our answer. Now at this juncture, if you are solving this question, of course there's a temptation to just go ahead and mark it. But I would also encourage you to see if there's any other logic that you can think of, which might give you some other option, or might be a better logic also. Now if you think of this, the first one has 2 horizontal, the next one has 2 horizontal, 1 vertical, then the next has 3 horizontal, 2 vertical, 4 horizontal, 3 vertical, and then we had 6 horizontal and 5 vertical. I just want to check and be doubly sure that it's not as obvious as just counting the number of lines. So here if I observe, if I find a trend or if I find a better logic, I can even go with that. If I try to find this trend, I cannot see a definite trend here. Initially you have 2, then 3, then 4 and 6 horizontal lines. Even your vertical lines is not 1, 2, 3, 4, it's 1, 2, 3, 5. So the way it's changing is very different. You will not be able to have anything related to a horizontal vertical combination. So the only thing then it is, which is what we have already got, is just taking the total, and that's it. So no need to think of horizontal vertical, just take the total of the objects and that gives you 13 as the answer. So let's go to the next one now. Alright, so let's look at the third question. Take about 45 seconds, pause the video and come back. So in this particular question, we have 5 objects, and what you will observe is that they remain the same, it's just the orientation that changes and the position that changes. Now how do you solve this question in the fastest possible way? Is to focus on one particular object and then track it very properly, or you focus on one position and then track it properly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on position instead of object. What I mean by that is, if I look at this arrow, or rather this position, what is happening here, this is the movement. So whatever is at the top goes to the bottom in the next one. Similarly, I'll observe that this one goes at the bottom, this one also moves to the bottom, this one also moves to the bottom, right? Its orientation has changed, right? So that is one thing that I've observed which is different from what I was observing so far. That tells me that my bottom is going to be an arrow, right? The orientation we'll look at it later, but for now arrow is what it is. This is out, this is out, this is out, and that first of all has increased your chance of hitting the right answer. Let's observe at something else. The third one goes to the first, then third one goes to the second. So you see some variation there. Whatever was in the middle has gone to the first in the second image. Whatever was third in the second image has become second in the third image. Now let me see what happens from that. Third goes to 1, third goes to 2. So again third should go to 1, and this time there is no change in terms of the orientation. So this is exactly how it is going to remain. So this is how it will be. And between 1 and 2, that's the only difference that I see. So that is why I've hit my answer, which is answer option 2. I don't really have to check for the rest of it. So the moment you get a convincing logic, you stop. You don't really check for others in terms of the visual reasoning questions that you have. So I hope you got this one right. Let's move to the next question. So this is the next question. Pause the video for 45 seconds and then come back. Okay, so let's look at the solution for this. Now again, I'm going to track object this time rather than the position. So let's see what is happening to the objects. So if I look at the plus sign, this is what the movement is for the plus one. And then from here it goes to the top right corner, from there it goes to the bottom right, and from there something. So now what you have observed is this is not the best way to solve it, right? It's better to look at the positions rather than the object. And this conflict you will encounter while solving visual reasoning questions occasionally. What I'm going to focus on now is the position. So if I look at the position, whatever is top left goes to the center. That's better way to look at it. Let's see if it is consistent. Division goes to the center, multiplication goes to the center. So what is going to be center of this particular image is going to be the minus sign. So I can eliminate option 2, I can eliminate option 4 as well. What next? Do you see a trend here? You see multiplication adjacent to each other, minus minus, star star. Obviously this has to be plus plus. So I need to have plus in the bottom left corner. I am left with option 1 and 3 this time. Now I am going to observe what is happening in the top right. Okay, and I think that should give us the answer eventually. Top right, what is happening? Whatever is in the center goes to top right, plus sign from here it moved to top right, division sign top right, multiplication sign will go top right. So that is where your multiplication sign is going to be. If you look at option 1 and 3, it's getting satisfied in option 1, and that's going to be your answer for this question. And here is our last question for this particular video. Pause for 45 seconds and then come back. I hope you were able to solve it. So let's see the solution. Now firstly, the arrow is the obvious starting. So if I look at the arrow, first one it is horizontal, pointing towards right. Then it is slant. Let's assume that it's 45-degree sharp turn. From there it has actually become vertical. It is pointing upwards. Then it is pointing in this direction. So that is going to be another 45-degree turn. Think of it. What will happen next? Think of directions. Initially this is how the arrow is. Then it has become in this direction, which is northeast. Then it is towards north. Then again in this direction. So the next one is going to be like this. So your answer has to have arrow which is pointing towards left. So that with that I can eliminate option 5. I can also eliminate option 2. I can also eliminate option 1. So our choice is clear between 3 and 4. So now I have to see how that pie is getting shaded in the circle. If I look at the first one, this part is shaded, right? Now when I go to the next one, it is this one. When I go to the next after that, it is this one, right? So in a way it skips 1 quarter in between, moves ahead and then comes back, because from here it skipped this particular quarter and then it moved ahead. That entire sector it skipped and then it moved ahead and then it came back to this, and that is how it is getting shaded. Now if that trend continues, obviously the next figure, which is the fourth one, has to have shading in this corner, and that's how you observe it. So when you go ahead, right, you are going to take a step back and come in this particular quarter. So that is the quarter that is supposed to be shaded, or the pie that is supposed to be shaded on the top left side of it. So that is something which is happening in answer option 4, and that becomes your answer. I hope you enjoyed these 5 questions and the entire video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, do it so, and I'll see you guys in the next one.